Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to Classy Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I found in my closet while reading. This week's movie is Scooby-Doo, and the ghost creeps from the deep, and it's about 41 minutes long. It was made in 1972. And right off the bat, it has a laughing track, and I hate when you're supposed to laugh at certain intervals when it's not even funny, but yeah. So they play the classic introduction to Scooby-Doo, and then the gang is out traveling in their van, and they're getting lost in the fog, and they think they're being chased by a monster, but it turns out there is a group of basketball players driving behind them in another van. So Fred managed to crash the van into the drink, and soon thereafter they see a pirate ship or a ghost pirate ship. So a bit after that, the basketball team crashes down into the drink as well, and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy decides to go with one of the basketball players to pick up his lucky basketball. For some reason, there is like a ridiculous chase sequence. They basically scare up one another, and the other team decides to head for a house, and they discover a character called Swampy Pete. And Swampy Pete is one of those, you don't know if he's a villain or not, or any, it's like a classic like Scooby-Doo trait, I guess. And then the Scooby-Doo crashes into the other gang as they return. And later in the house there's like a creepy voice, like a creepy laughter, and they leave, and it turns out that it's just Swampy Pete trying to scare them. Excuse me. And then they run off and return, and they decide to play a game of basketball with the basketball players because not to remind them that they are afraid anymore. And they do that, and they decide to have a sleepover. And then Swampy Pete discovers the pirates in another scene, and then he talks to the gang and the basketball players about, I think it's the Captain Redbeard and his crew and what they're supposed to do. And then the ghost pirate enters the room, and there's a fight between the ghost pirates like Redbeard and all the stuff. And Redbeard uses a skull to summon a bunch of spirits, and then it turns into dawn, and the ghost disappears, and Shaggy and Scooby-Doo falls down a trapdoor in the floor, and they land into the ghost ship's boat. Because they're not real ghosts. Go figure, like, yeah. So, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy hides in the boat, and the ghost pirates presumably take him to their hideout, and the gang try to follow him. So there's like a ridiculous sequence where Shaggy does some acrobatics, and he basically pulls some levers, and he does some hose tricks, and soon enough the gang catches up and manage to capture them, and it turns out that Swampy Pete is not really a bad guy. He's actually working for the police. So at the end of the movie, the basketball team gets to play their game, and Shaggy and Scooby-Doo and the team gets to see it as well. So and the ghosts just turn out to be looking for oil. They're just using it as a cover-up, basically. So what do I think about this short movie? It hasn't aged well at all. So it's full of stereotypical caricatures of black people. That's it. And the humor is not that funny, but I guess in 1972 it was different. And I mean, some things age well and others don't. But the plot is so loosely based, and I mean, everybody that looks like in the rear view mirror will probably realize that, well, there's a car behind me, like two headlights, right? They think it's a monster, and they drive into the swamp. So how stupid can you be? I mean, it's a kids movie. I know that, but all this weirdness and everything, I can't really recommend this movie. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for listening and for watching, and take care.